This conference will now be recorded.
Start the recording. Excellent. For those of you who do follow the agenda that's posted on the Chamber website, you might notice that I'm not Wayne Mitchell, our President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. Unfortunately, Wayne's not going to join us to lead the meeting today. He's a little under the weather, so I'm sure your prayers and concerns for him and Bonnie would be greatly appreciated. We are recording this conference call. It will be posted later today, hopefully, on our YouTube channel, as well as all those other past conference call recordings. You can find them there. We do invite the media to join us, so hopefully we have some local folks from broadcast and print on the call. And I am Kelly Augustine. I am the Executive Vice President here at the Nacogdoches County Chamber of Commerce, and we are happy to host this meeting once again this week. I'm going to begin with an introduction of a guest speaker who actually joined us before. This is his second appearance on our conference call. He was with us in early June, Mr. John M. Gonzales. He is the Director, Southwest South Central Region, Congressional and Public Affairs for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Gonzales is Director of the Southwest Central Regional Office, representing 8 states. He helps lead the regional office's efforts to build and maintain relationships in the area. He also works with a variety of members and elected officials on pivotal issues, programs, and services to maintain legislative, political, and grassroots resources that are key to achieving the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's public policy goals. He brings more than 25 years of experience in the federal government and politics to his role in the U.S. Chamber's Dallas Regional Office. Before joining the U.S. Chamber, Gonzales worked in the offices of State Rep Michael Burgess, Senator Phil Gramm, the Bush-Quell re-election campaign in Washington, D.C., and he joined Kay Bailey Hutchinson's campaign for the U.S. Senate. He is a native of Dallas, and that is where he lives now with his family. Welcome, Mr. Gonzales. The conference call floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Appreciate the introduction. Always good to be with you all. In fact, the last time we did this, it was, I believe, June 4th, and that was a different time. I mean, I actually thought that we were on such a roll and things were moving quickly. And I think that very first week the Senate was back in session and the House had passed 3 massive bills. And then since then, you know, not much activity has occurred. As many of y'all, and I'm sure everyone here has found out or heard that last week the Senate failed to pass the so-called skinny bill. And that was basically a phase 4 bill that was pared down. So instead of $1 trillion, it was $300 billion, and it failed to pass. So now, you know, Congress does deserve some credit for their action in April, in May, but we need more federal relief. I mean, I think we all need more targeted relief, if at a minimum. So, but gridlock has once again seized Washington. The longer lawmakers continue to play games here, the worse the situation will become, and some of those and more of it, the costs will all be on us. Now, the House is back in. They went back this week, yesterday. So we'll see what happens there, and I can touch on that in a little bit. But what we've been trying to do is come up with the exact cost of inaction, and so there are 4 big areas that we have identified. So take, for example, schools. Many of our schools are going back. Well, the average school district will face $1.8 million or $485 per student in additional costs for disinfectants, personal protective equipment, and other preparations to bring students into the classroom this year. For our airlines, we just talked about airlines a little while ago. If Congress fails to provide additional relief, U.S. airlines may be forced to furlough 75,000 pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, and other workers. Our restaurants, I don't know about you all, but I miss eating in crowded restaurants. I used to hate crowded restaurants. Now I'm dying for a crowded restaurant. If Congress fails to provide additional relief, the restaurant industry is on course to lose more than $240 billion by the end of this year. And then finally, small businesses. You know, approximately 4 million small businesses, or almost 13% of America's 31 million small businesses, have likely already exhausted their paycheck protection funds. So the longer Congress is paralyzed by inaction, the more storefronts lining Main Street will close. So that's what we're calling the cost of inaction. Now, like as I mentioned, the House returned. I think yesterday was a travel day, but they're back in Washington. So you have both the House and the Senate in session in D.C. And we're hoping now that the House is there that we'll be able to find a path forward. But time is running out. Remember, the end of the fiscal year is September 30th, a few weeks away, and Congress plans to adjourn in probably after around October 12th or before October 12th to start the home stretch to Election Day. About 10 working days are left to get a lot done in this month alone. And so you've got a transportation bill that needs to be, that expires on September 30th. The WRDA bill expires. The budget, of course, expires. So will there be a CR? And how long will that continuing resolution be? We don't know yet. Hopefully, we'll get some clues this week. So the chamber is doing everything we can to ensure business priorities are addressed, but we need your help getting them across the finish line. So continue to reach out to your members of Congress and your senators and let them know that we need additional assistance. A Phase 4 bill out of the Senate and would definitely help us make it through the rest of the year. So speaking of politics, as we know, we're less than, I believe we're less than, or right around 50 days or less to the presidential election. And so there's been a lot of stuff in the news, and the U.S. Chamber's been in the news. If you haven't seen it, then you're lucky. But we've been what we've been trying to do is it's a political election season, and we do get engaged. We do endorse candidates. So sometimes that's great for some, and sometimes it's not so great. So, but the mission of the U.S. Chamber Endorsement Program is to recognize and support pro-business candidates and those who have worked to advance the policies we support, both Republican and Democrat, for the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives. And as you know, we've endorsed Senator Cornyn. But supporting these candidates for public office helps us further our goals in achieving pro-business legislation on Capitol Hill on behalf of the business community. And for over 100 years of our history, the U.S. Chamber has never been engaged in a presidential election. So we never endorse and never have endorsed and don't plan to endorse in this this election or any other presidential election. But we are not a single issue organization, and our congressional scorecard reflects the diverse interests of our members. But we do recognize that in order to work in the best interest of our members, it takes bipartisan support to be successful, and I think most of y'all would agree with that. So back in early 2019, late 2018, early 19, we revised our scorecard to more fully recognize members of Congress for helping to advance pro-business policies, while also encouraging members to reach compromise necessary for effective governing. And as a result, this election cycle, everyone is different, but this election cycle, our scorecard resulted in 192 Republicans being endorsed and 30 House Democrats being endorsed. And all of them had a lifetime score of above 70%, which has always been our threshold at the U.S. Chamber. So look, in this current very partisan environment, few members of Congress agree with us on everything, but our work to build relationships with Democrats proved effective, not only as evidence in their scores, but also more importantly, by the legislation we have been able to achieve because of their support. And to name one of those big, huge pieces of legislation that was a heavy lift was USMCA, the old NAFTA trade agreement that got revised. And so without a lot of those Democrats' help, USMCA would probably still be floundering. So, in the end, we're a non-partisan organization. Finding members of Congress who are willing to govern and support the pro-business policies we support is critical to our success. And I think even at the state and local level, we all know how important that is. And finally, the one last thing I want to mention before going to questions is our national. So each year, the U.S. Chamber would host a national, what we called a government affairs conference, and we focused it mostly on CEOs of chambers or their public policy person or their government affairs person, to get them the latest information on policy trends, best practices. And a couple of years ago, we kind of changed that to what we started calling our LEAD conference, L-E-A-D, LEAD conference. And it was, again, still tailored towards that group. But we saw that there was a need, and a lot of chambers were very interested in it, even though we still just focused in that one area. So we started some great partnerships with the Council of State Chambers. And so this year, obviously having to be virtual, our national conference, our national lead conference is next week. And it's a range of topics that we think will be helpful to chambers and association staff and of all chambers of all sizes. I think will benefit. So we really appreciate your chamber's partnership. It's staff. It's a free virtual conference that your entire staff can pick and choose what benefits them the most. And we think it'll be very helpful. And we're looking forward to hosting as many chambers and associations next week with this LEAD conference. But if you need, we also have programming available to everyone. And if you just go to uschamber.com/CO, The many events that we do virtual now are open to anybody and everybody, and those topics range a great deal, and I think anybody would be able to benefit from those free events. And with that, don't forget to vote, and happy to take any questions.
Any questions for John? I just want to mention the Path Forward series that's produced by the U.S. Chamber. We've made that available to our members and community, and that's really been interesting to see those interviews with leaders across our country during this time. At every stage, it's been very interesting.
Thank you for mentioning that. That is a great program that it continues to just get better and better. So we're really excited.
And if I understand correctly, the webpage where that Path Forward is found has all the past recordings there, if anybody wanted to go watch that.
Yeah, you can go back and listen or watch something that occurred that we did months ago, if that speaker interests you. So there have been a lot of great speakers since then. So thank you, Kelly.
Okay, going once, twice. Any questions for John about his role or U.S. Chamber's activities? Okay, guys. Well, thank you, John. You're welcome to stick with us. We appreciate you joining us again today and look forward to hearing from you again.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Thank you for everything y'all do for the business community there in Nacogdoches, and I'll certainly hang on and see what's coming up next.
Well, that's good because we have a great speaker up next. That's going to be Chaney Morgan with the Nacogdoches Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're going to get a great update from her, I'm sure. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, friends. We're still a few days out from receiving our most current Smith Travel Research report that tells us our hotel occupancy for the month of August, but we anticipate it will show the best numbers that we've seen since March. Our properties still continue to report positive business flow, even moving into September. And so we will be able to end the last half of our last quarter of this fiscal year strong, and that's a good sign. Those are good indicators for us. Our region continues to outperform the rest of the nation, and Nacogdoches specifically stands out in the state for our numbers are still down, but they're not as down as some of our other neighbors around us. Events are slowly starting to reemerge in our community and include compliance plans to ensure safety for all involved. And I, in closing, just want to remind everybody that 2021 will be our 25th anniversary at the CVB operating independently. And we have a special project that we want to do to commemorate that milestone anniversary. And part of that work begins now. We are collecting our love letters to Nacogdoches. And so I'm just reminding everybody to submit your letters and photographs that support your letter, and also encourage your friends and family to do the same. We all know that this pandemic is lasting far longer than anybody really thought. And so each day we kind of wake up and we're not really sure what today is going to bring. And when we fix what we fix our focus on is what we tend to see. And I think this project is an opportunity to take our eyes off of what we've lost and what isn't the same anymore, but really focus our energies and our mindset on what it is about Nacogdoches that we love and what drew us here, and just serve as a reminder of why we continue to live and give in this community as we all do. So please help us out, and maybe in turn you can help yourself out at the same time by submitting your love letters to Nacogdoches. So I appreciate y'all's time, and I hope you have an outstanding rest of your week. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Sherry. We appreciate that information and all that you're doing for our area. We're going to move on to our regional representative for the Office of the Governor. Ms. Betty Rousseau is on the line with us. Hi, Betty.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My report's going to be short this morning. The governor hasn't been providing a lot of announcements the last week in general. A lot of them are regarding just more region-specific things. But just a few minutes ago, the governor released a new public service announcement encouraging Texans to get a flu shot. That I can't imagine, having the flu and COVID at the same time. That's something else. And I might have brought up the governor's small business webinar last week. I think I did, but I don't think I had the details on it. This webinar has a veteran focus. It's going to focus on veteran-owned businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs. We'll connect veterans with the people and resources they need to be successful. And this event will address a variety of key business topics and challenges. Small businesses in all stages, startups to established companies, are welcome to join in for this informative webinar and to take advantage of a live question and answer with the exceptional lineup of speakers. Some of the speakers include Chip Osborne, the Director of Resource Management with the Texas Veterans Commission, Anna Baker with the Veteran Entrepreneur Program and the Texas Veterans Commission, John Borsler, the CEO of Combined Arms, which is down in Houston, V.R. Small, the CEO of Veteran Women's Enterprise Center, and Patrick Alcorn and Juan Flores with the Veterans Business Outreach Center. So I can send that registration information to Kelly. If y'all are interested, you just let me know. And shout out to the chamber for all you do. You're great at what you do, and thank you. Y'all are phenomenal, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Betty. I do have that registration information, and just to let everyone know, my plan is to get something out to the membership with that, and also a special edition of the Path Forward series. This will be a webinar with Surgeon General Jerome Adams. That will happen on September 17th. I believe that's Thursday. So you'll get an email with registration for both those events in one chamber email. So be looking forward to that. Any questions for Betty? Okay, I saw Larissa earlier jump in. Larissa Philpott.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great, wonderful. This is our Nacogdoches Economic Development Corporation President and CEO. Welcome, Larissa.
Thank you, Kelly. We are excited to announce the City of Nacogdoches' economic stimulus program for small businesses. Those applications are open. The program is called NAC Cares because it is funded by the Federal CARES Act. We are excited to be able to offer this to small businesses and nonprofits in the city. They do have to be located within the city limits. So unfortunately, to one of our friends in Crockett who has already applied, we unfortunately won't be able to fund them. So it's got to be within the city. They do have to be registered to do business in the state of Texas. They had to have been in business before January 1st of this year. And they do have to show that they were subject to an executive order or show a negative financial impact of at least 20%. That application, sorry, I don't have the website in front of me, so I'm going to pull this up real fast. I will post it in the chat box actually when I'm done talking, so I don't read out a web address to you. The funding is based on the size. So if your business had an adjusted gross revenue of $25,000 to $100,000, you're eligible for $2,500. If you had an adjusted gross revenue of up to $250,000, you're eligible for $5,000 in funding, and then anything over $250,000 in adjusted gross revenue, you're eligible for $10,000 in funding. This is intended to be used to reimburse the cost of business interruption. So let's say you bought supplies to make your employees and your customers safe when they came back, or you had to change your business model so that you could reopen under a different business model, things like that. Let's see, those applications, in case I didn't already say it, I'm going to say it again, are available online on the site. I will post here in a moment until Friday, September 25th at 5 p.m. We are hoping that this is going to be the first round of funding. We are hopeful that we will be able to take a look at the applications we got in on the 25th, make any changes we need to make. The city's never done something like this before, so we are very sensitive to helping our friends at the city make sure that we do it correctly. And so we will hopefully be out with a second round of funding in October. There is some information that folks would have to supply if they are applying, things like their Secretary of State filing number, a profit and loss statement for 2019 and 2020 to date, their 990 form if they are nonprofits. So it's all information you should have anyway, but you may not have it at your fingertips. So make sure you get all that together when you apply. They are funding on a first come, first completed application, first served basis. So if you just shoot out an application and you don't have any of your information, that doesn't necessarily put you at the top of the pile. Got to make sure you've got all of your good info first. Our banks are super excited about this. You know, all of our banks did such a great job of helping with the payroll protection program loans, and they have been super excited to help the city push this information out. So if you have questions, you can reach out to me or talk to your banker or your accountant. I'd recommend you talk to your banker and your accountant when you're getting all of your backup information together anyway. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Oh, Amy Mahaffey just put the page up there. Can everybody see that, Amy, or was that just to me?
No, she beat you to it, Larissa.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Amy, for having my back. Thanks, guys.
And speaking of Dr. Amy Mahaffey, we'd love to hear reports from the city.
Hi, thank you. I just sympathize for having to talk and try to find a link at the same time, so I thought I'd jump in and beat her to it. But yeah, that was one of the main things that I was going to share with y'all today, so that's a really exciting opportunity that NEDCO is helping take the lead on, and so that's a really great thing for our local businesses. You heard Sherry Morgan talk about us trying to get back to normal and having more events. And that is something that I know that everyone is craving and wanting to do. And we have different holidays coming up. And so I just kind of wanted to give this group a little bit of an overview about the city's approach to events. The governor order that we are currently under that requires masks also dictates that the mayor approve any large events within the city limits. And so with that, we are filtering any requests for events through my office. And then that goes to several city officials who vet what we're calling kind of a safety plan. We've had, this weekend, there's a 5K plan, and they have a really great for the Helping House, and they have a really great plan to make sure that things are socially distanced and that everybody is not, coming within close contact with one another. And so the hope is that we can ease back into doing events, but to not forget that this is a very real thing and it hasn't gone away. And so while we're starting to see new things kind of pop back up, it's vitally important that we continue to take the virus seriously and continue to wear our masks and practice all of the safety precautions that you've heard about for months and months. We are trying to be accommodating, but safety is obviously our first priority. We are also working on getting some masks that with the CARES Act money to provide to citizens. We have a huge order that we're placing this week for some City of Nacogdoches masks. And so these will be really awesome. I don't even know. I have them stuck everywhere because they're amazing and they breathe and they're easy to wash. And so we're hoping that if any of you have events or things that you are doing at your business, that you can request those from us and we can get those out to you. We're hoping to give lots to, the school districts and things like that to ensure that people are always having their mask handy. The more handy it is, the more likely people are to put it on. And obviously that is so important under the current governor order that we all comply. And then finally, just a reminder, today's Tuesday. And so every Tuesday we do a kind of a trend line graph on our social media, and we send out an email to our stakeholder group. Again, if you want to be on that, you are more than welcome to shoot your email in here and we'll add you to that daily update list. Either Abby Scorsonelli at the county or myself will be sending that out. And every Tuesday we do a 7, 14, and 21 day running average. Y'all know about, flattening the curve. And so we want to show y'all what our curve looks like in Nacogdoches. One of the questions we're getting is about SFA. They have their own tracking system for students. And so depending on a student and where their home of record is will depend on which place they fall. And so from the beginning of this process, we have been very committed to only reporting cases that are in Nacogdoches County or in the city. And so we continue that. So if a student falls within, they consider themselves a permanent resident of Nacogdoches, then they fall under our count. And if not, you can check out SFA. They have a beautifully designed dashboard to kind of give you their statistics as well. We also have shifted our reporting times. We are trying to get closer. For a while there, we were doing great getting our numbers reconciled with the state numbers. But as time has gone on, they've kind of changed their system. And so we are now reporting complete state numbers 100% instead of waiting on the numbers to get to us through the state. So with that, we've moved our reporting times up to between 8 and 10 a.m. every day. And that will reflect the numbers from the day before reported by the state. This was especially a question we were getting when it came to, unfortunately, fatalities, because they were getting reported to us days and days after it was reported to the state. And we want to be committed to giving you the most accurate numbers possible. And so we appreciate everybody kind of sticking with us and going with the flow as we continue to evolve our process. So with that, Kelly, thank you for letting me give a report. It's good to be back, and I can take any questions that anybody may have.
Any questions for Dr. Mahaffey? And if not, we're going to move on to what I understand is a brief report from Les Leinbarker with the Nacogdoches Independent School District. Hi, Les.
Hey, good morning, Kelly. Hello, everyone. Nacogdoches ISD has completed a week of classes now. Campuses are in the process still of phasing in more students to in-person instruction. By next week, our elementary schools will have on campus all students whose parents are wanting in-person instruction. The high school phase-in will last an additional week, and the middle school phase-in will take place over an additional 2 weeks. And teachers and students and parents are still adjusting to the online instructional process. I can't begin to describe how hard our teachers have worked to prepare for this school year, and our parents that have children learning online or learning on the go as well. We greatly appreciate the parents' willingness and their patience to work with us. That's all I've got, Kelly. It's a short report today.
Thank you, Les. I just have to throw in that the Chamber is proud to be a partner in the Dragon Connect program. I know I see other partners on this call. So if any of our local businesses are interested in sharing their Wi-Fi with Nacogdoches students, they can contact you. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. They can contact my office, and I'm with Amy. I can't look at things and talk at the same time. So once I hit mute, I will enter in some contact information into the chat feature.
Thank you, Les. We appreciate that.
Thank you all very much.
And we'll move on to Gary Lee Ashcraft. President and CEO of our Nacogdoches Area United Way.
Well, I have trouble just undoing the mute button, so I surely can't share things. Anyway, quit laughing, Amy. I wanted to tell you all about two things. One, the campaign. I had trepidation, whatever, anxiety about that when we started doing the COVID thing. As they say in East Texas, the COVID. I will tell you that I've been calling our campaigns where we may be a little behind, but that was only my information. Campaigns have already started, and they're doing well. Our most recent one was E-Tech. When I called David Gonzales, who's a rock star, I started to do my little gig and say, hey, you know, we got a virtual campaign with options and blah, blah, blah. He said, Gary Lee, if you'll shut up, we're already $17,000 towards our goal of 30, and we're rocking it. And they are. And several of the campaigns are doing that right now. We're catching up to the campaign. So feel really good about it. Our goal was 300,000. I encourage any of you all, please, to donate. Of course, everybody else needs it too. It's called money. But this money is for next year. All the for the city folks, just so you know, when you deduct from your payroll, your United Way portion, it starts next year, and it's going to be vitally important for these agencies to have money. We've been able to do some COVID things and raise some money for them from, I've said before, Encore was so gracious, and Bright Foundation and others, some of you all, and shore it up. But now things are rocking. Everybody's doing a little better. But we're really looking for 2021 to get rid of this thing and to even take it up another level. On events, we did hold the doodad. It was virtual. We did do a kickoff. It was virtual. Wasn't an income producer per se, but a lot of fun for everybody involved. We all have the turkey trot. We'll have announcements going out about it. It's a little far away. It's Thanksgiving morning. So all of you who have running shoes and feel good about running the 5K or don't, I don't, but I want to do it. Y'all come on out and enjoy that morning. You can run off some calories and then go fill them back up at the turkey table. So that's going on. The parade, I'm getting questions from some of you all about the parade. We're in meetings now. Have nothing to announce. We're just looking at it, planning, trying to figure out what we're going to do. So soon we'll be announcing about the parade. So that's about all I have, Kelly. I could go on if you like and make some speeches, but I think I'll just go ahead and shut up. Thank you all for allowing me on this call.
Thank you, Gary Lee. Do we have any questions or final comments from any of the guests on the line? I just want to make a couple of great chamber announcements because the chamber is in operation. We have been so happy to be working with our business members as well as community leaders through this time. We will have an Eggs and Issues breakfast meeting on September 24th with our guest, Dr. Gabriel Trujillo, the Nacogdoches ISD Superintendent. We're all looking forward to having him as our guest. And you have an option. You may either attend that meeting that begins at 7:30 a.m. on the 24th at the Fredonia Hotel and Convention Center, or you may log in to a GoToMeeting where that program will be streamed live as well. Another Eggs and Issues is scheduled for October 8th. This is with our city manager, Mario Canizares. He, as you recall, he was our August speaker, and Hurricane Laura kind of played around with that. So we are so happy to have him back on October 8th, and you'll have that same choice of either attending in person or by the conference call virtual meeting. I have to mention the 2020 census because the chamber has partnered with the city in this effort to make sure all are counted in our Nacogdoches community. In fact, you can, as a business leader, do things in your business to encourage your employees, your coworkers, your customers to be counted. And this is very important, especially at this time in this month as we are finishing up the census count. More information on that is available at the chamber website, nacogdoches.org/census. please check our event calendar for our events, our meetings that are going on right now. If you would like to become more involved in our chamber, we would welcome you. With that, I just want to thank everyone for participating and everyone for logging in. Again, a recording of this meeting will be available on the Chamber's YouTube channel. Y'all have a great day and a great week.